said, my main desire is to stay with the Trailblazers because I'm having such a good time. I don't think a night like this hurts.
No.
Sellout crowds every...
Marcus Dion Camby, born March 22nd, 1974. Today's feature is of a guy that has had one of the most interesting lives and basketball journeys I've covered. He's also a guy that may have been the first of his kind, ushering in improved and refined versions of himself in Anthony Davis and Rudy Gobert. He's often forgotten in many stories of college and NBA basketball, mostly being remembered with Allen Iverson on his back or his unorthodox shooting motion. But Marcus Camby was one of the best in history at what he does and did, that has so many jewels in his story that, if paid attention to, can help so many future hoopers in his same gangly, Dowsing-like body movements, defensive genius, and hard work and perseverance, going through what he had to play and earn as much as he did. They can also learn from his misfires that stunted his growth and made this once surefire franchise cornerstone not live up to his potential in some eyes. Here are 3 reasons I think his growth was stunted, and many seem to have forgotten his career. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Marcus Camby is a 6'11" center from Hartford, Connecticut that became a star for his public school by his senior high school season, in which he led the team to a state championship and Gatorade State Player of the Year award. He still wasn't highly recruited across the country, not being a McDonald's All-American and landing on the 4th team All-American roster. Many programs weren't sold on his strength and toughness down low, especially in that era, which we'll touch on later, and passed on Marcus for bigger names that fit the mold of what bigs were in his generation. Camby would be blessed in disguise though, because he landed with a young, hungry coach at UMass in John Calipari that was eager to prove himself and understood Camby's worth and potential. Later down the line, that eagerness and hunger was maybe too much, seeing as Camby went on to admit to receiving benefits like money, cash, and that vacated all he and the team's achievements. Camby became a flat-out star at UMass though, and showed he may have been worth every penny. Stunt number 1, young Mr. Glass. Injury is no laughing matter, and it's not to be taken lightly when choosing this career. It's also a part of the sport and happens regular enough that it's taken the potential of many would-be stars and Hall of Famers. 22% of NBA players each year will sustain an injury that causes them to miss at least 1 game, and almost 50% of basketball players sustain sprains that force them to miss a quarter or play here and there. 98% of players deal with small nicks and knacks during the course of the season that, while they can play through it, does present discomfort and hinders their play in some way. Marcus Camby, looking back, has dealt with his fair share of all levels of injury, and it cost him in areas like ability to develop, being out on the floor and establishing leadership, and the ability to play like yourself and do the things you know you can do. The injuries began in just his 3rd game of his college career, where he tore his meniscus and was forced to miss important games. It wouldn't completely stop him, but showed that, like his successor Anthony Davis, his frail body makeup may be a liability to his growth going forward. But that frail, mobile structure allowed Camby to become a unicorn in college at his position, and by his junior year, he dominated that competition, becoming the National Player of the Year and leading his team to the Final Four. He set a tournament record with 43 total block shots in 11 games. He averaged 20 points, 8 rebounds, and almost 4 blocks. He decided to forego his final college season and enter the NBA draft, feeling as though there was nothing left to prove, along with the investigation into his recruiting beginning. He would have clearly been a #1 pick had it not been for Hall of Famer Allen Iverson. He landed at number 2 with Toronto making the pick and went on to have a 17-year career where he's never played all 82 games or more than 63 in his first 4 seasons due to injuries that sidelined him here and there over the course of his career, including a hip injury that forced the Knicks to trade him to Denver. Almost in the same way Toronto traded him after just his 2nd season, mainly because he was often injured, leading to losing seasons. Had his body been tougher physically and able to sustain his health over his career, he would have been a beast in the NBA. Stunt number 2, the Knicks. Oh boy, here we go again, right? Yes, I'm tired of writing about them just as much as you're probably tired of hearing about them. But it's no coincidence that they're usually connected to stunning a lot of players' growth being affiliated with them, and most of it is unintentional. It's just something about playing for that team. In Camby's case, it was all unintentional and not the team doing it all. It was simply because Camby, who was drafted to be a franchise changer and cornerstone player by the Raptors, then traded to NY, came to the Knicks and immediately became a backup role player behind Patrick Ewing at his position, along with Allen Houston, Sprewell, and Larry Johnson. It wasn't a bad idea though. He couldn't be what everyone wanted him to simply because of health issues, so embracing being surrounded with players that could reduce the load on his body was good in that aspect. Seeing as he ended up playing almost 20 years and making almost $200 million in his career. That may have been the single most well-timed occurrence of his career because it allowed him longevity, which he says is his biggest basketball accomplishment. But it took away his chance at really becoming the first Anthony Davis and guys like him. Ones that could dribble like a guard, run the floor with a high motor, defend at an extremely high level, and score on you down low. The Knicks didn't need that from Camby, and his offensive production slipped to 7 points a game in just 20 minutes off the bench and limited shot attempts with all the weapons they had. It also affected him defensively, where his blocks and rebounds also took a dip due to his limited usage. The team didn't need much from him, and while he did have some success, he was forced to play that role. When Patrick Ewing went down with an Achilles injury, Camby stepped into the role and helped the Knicks to the NBA Finals, the only 8th seed to ever do that. A lot of it was the play of Marcus, averaging a double-double in Patrick's absence. He averaged back-to-back double-doubles beginning in 2000. Following the season in 2002 with Ewing back in the fold and Camby's injury setbacks, they traded him to the Nuggets where he'd have some of his best years, especially defensively. Stunt number 3, the wrong era. Wrong may be a little strong, especially when talking about a guy that lasted as many years as he did and earned as much as he has in his career. So I'll just say a better era. With all the accomplishments Camby has had, leading the league in block shots and almost averaging a double-double in points and rebounds, I still think he would have been a beast in an era like today's and see double the success and earnings and maybe even better health record with today's medicine. In the late 90s, early 2000s, the league was all about the strong postman, and to be a guy his size and type of game, I feel like him being dropped in that mix hindered him a bit and stunted the growth of things like his scoring, which was great in high school and college. He was still one of the best defenders of that era and would have been in any era because of the Dalsum-like stretch he had that was unassuming how slow and calm he approached you to send your stuff to the second row. All in all, Marcus Camby still had an admirable career for the things he was able to do, how long he lasted, and committing a straight heist on the Knicks in his final 2 seasons, being paid over $4 million a year beginning at 38 years old. He was the first of his kind, but no one talks about this dinosaur anymore for the things he was able to do against all the circumstances. Salute to him, I wish him nothing but the best, but for these reasons, his growth was stunted. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth, and I'm out. Also, visit stuntedgrowth3.com right now. We have some new winter merch for all your fashion needs. We have the Legends Edition package, the Championship Edition, and much more to satisfy your winter fashion. Once again, visit stuntedgrowth3.com right now. Please like and subscribe to this video for more content. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, man. Let's get it.